Hello, I hope you're doing well. I'm very excited this week to be bringing you a chat with Robert Kool Bell. He's the founding member of the legendary group Kool The Gang. Formed as a jazz ensemble in the mid-60s, Kool The Gang became one of the most inspired and influential funk units during the 70s, and one of the most popular R&B groups of the 80s. After this one went to number one. Kool and the Gang have always been funky like James Brown or Parliament, and their music has been sampled just as often. That means it's been copied by other artists. They've sold over 80 million albums worldwide, earned 2 Grammy Awards and 7 American Music Awards. Are you interested to hear their story? Here's Robert Kool Bell to share it. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. I can't complain. Where do we find you?
I'm in Orlando, Florida. I
Right.
just got back from Germany and Cairo, Egypt.
Really? Were you playing there or you were holidaying?
Yes, we did 18 shows with the German Philharmonic Orchestra. And from there, we went over to Cairo and we played in front of the pyramids in Cairo.
What was it like in Cairo?
Oh, it was great. I had to play in front of the pyramids. I got a chance to ride some of the camels.
What a sensational career you've been enjoying. You've won 7 Grammy Awards, you've sold more than 80 million albums across the world, and you've influenced the music of generations, haven't you?
Yes, we have been blessed. We're celebrating over 50-something years. We started back in 1964 as the Jazziacs, and then the Soul Town Band, and then Kool and the Flames. We had to change that because of James Brown.
Did you know you'd make music your professional career?
It was our love for jazz, you know. A little history. My father was a boxer, top 5 featherweight. People like Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis used to try to get in the ring with my father. My father said, "Miles, I don't want to hit you in the lip, man. Mess up your career." So we kind of started back there. My grandmother used to play piano a little bit, and we moved on up and moved to Jersey City. And that's when we met the rest of the band and formed the name Kool the Gang.
How did you get that name?
Well, Kool was a little nickname that I picked up when I moved from Ohio. I was born in Youngstown, Ohio, in Jersey City. There was a lot of nickname going on around in Jersey City, Newark, and New York. And I was a country boy coming to the big cities, and I wanted to fit in. Everybody, a lot of the guys in the neighborhood had nicknames. I said, well, I think Kool would be a good name for me. But you know what? I said, I'm going to spell it with a K instead of a C. And that was the beginning of Kool the Gang.
Right. Were you always pretty cool?
I thought I was. I don't know. I thought I was. There was a song about them called Ladies Night.
I remember it well. You first started off as being Kool and the Flames, though, didn't you? How'd you get to Kool and the Gang?
Well, we're working after we left the Soul Town Band. We were working in a club in Newark, and one of the master of ceremonies from the Soul Town Band came up with this idea. And she took a picture, he carved out my name Kool on the top and the gang on the bottom into the big ice cube. We know we had to change the name because you had James Brown and the Famous Flames. So we didn't want to have any problem with the Godfather. So our manager at that time said, why don't you guys call yourselves Kool the Gang? And that's what we did. We came out with our very first record in 1969 called Kool the Gang.
Yeah, and that took off straight away, didn't it? It just busted out onto the R&B charts.
Yeah, it was a top 40 record. We were surprised. We were just getting out of high school, running around Jersey City. Hey, that's us. Hey, we're on the radio.
Must have been an amazing feeling.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So you never expected such success? What do you think it was about that first album that really caught everybody's imagination?
Well, I think it was a little different in terms of young guys coming out of high school, and we were more of an instrumental group, and we kind of mixed some of the sounds that we did. We were backing up the artists from the Soul Town Review, and we created this sound. And everybody fell in love with. Some people thought it was a Spanish band because of the bongos and the horn lines where they went, and it was great.
It was very different in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You said that your early influences have been jazz. You kind of lost the jazz quite quickly and turned to funk, didn't you? How did that change happen?
Well, after the Jazziacs, we started backing up local talent with the Soul Town Review. We became the Soul Town Band. They were singing mostly all Motown songs. So we found ourselves playing, Since I Lost My Baby, and the Temptations, and then also Miracles, and Listen to James Brown. That's kind of how we moved from the jazz side over to the R&B side at that time, but our very first record, Kool The Gang. On that album, if you go back, there's a song called Since I Lost My Baby by the Temptations. We covered that song.
And made it a huge hit.
Yeah, well, it was a big hit before us, but yeah, we did good with that, Since I Lost My Baby.
Kool and the Gang were known for their instrumental pieces. They didn't have a lead vocalist in the band, and their sound didn't really need one.
Everybody agreed with the direction you were heading in?
Yeah, because we were, like I said, we were young, 14, 15 years old, just started. And because of backing up the various groups and moving forward to try to establish our own sound, everybody agreed because we didn't know where we were going. It was best to agree than not to agree. And that's how we moved on. We were fine, we were young, having a great time, creating some good music at the time. And then, like I said, moving on up to the Wild and Cheetah album with Hollywood Swinging and funky stuff and Jungle Boogie. We were just having a great time. After that, before we got another big hit, wasn't until Wild and Peaceful, Jungle Boogie, Hollywood Swinging, and funky stuff. Now, we had other songs that we toured around with. Funky Granny, Funky Man, Good Times, Raw Hamburgers, all that stuff. We were just having fun.
Robert Bell had formed the group in 1964 with his brother Ronald. The Bell Boys enlisted their friends Robert Spike Mickens, Dennis D.T. Thomas, Ricky Westfield, George Brown and Charles Smith to create that musical blend of jazz, soul and funk. But it wasn't really until 1973 that the album Wild and Peaceful went gold and the band reached another level.
What happened with Wild and Peaceful? The record company came to us and said, listen, you guys have had some territorial hits. He said, well, there's a record out there called Soul Makusa by Mongo DeBengo. We want you to sit down with this producer and see if you can come up with a big record. We met him once and we said, nah, we weren't feeling him. So we went into a studio one morning and we just started jamming. By the time we finished, we had created Hollywood Swinging, Jungle Boogie, and funky stuff. No more problems from the record company. Those were big records for us.
Funky Stuff became Kool and the Gang's first top 40 hit at the end of '73. Then both Jungle Boogie and Hollywood Swinging reached the top 10.
What did all that success do for you, Robert? It must have changed your lifestyle incredibly when you first hit it big. You're young, you're free, you're on top of the charts, the radio is blaring out your music. What did that mean to the way you lived your life?
Well, we felt good about it. I felt good about it. Throughout the 70s, as we moved up in our career, then came Summer Madness. Summer Madness was a part of a song called You Don't Have to Change. And at the end of You Don't Have to Change, there was a vamp there. And my brother was listening to that vamp one night. He had just got the ARP synthesizer. And he started fooling around with it. And he played over the vamp. And, you got something here. So Spike Mickens, who wrote You Don't Have to Change, he said, well, hey, I like that. I said, well, what are we going to call it? Call it Summer Madness, not knowing that was going to become a big record.
Summer Madness was released in '74 and featured in the Rocky movie in '76. It reached number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100 and has become one of the most sampled R&B compositions of all time. To date, more than 150 recordings have sampled it. For those of you who don't know what sampling means, it's when an artist includes an element of someone else's recording in their composition. It can be anything that's been sampled from another track, a rhythm, a melody, a beat, vocals or speech, which will then be manipulated, edited, chopped up or looped to fit into their own work.
We kind of felt pretty good about it, that in order to sample, you have to get the okay from the record company. Of course, then we started getting paid. And the fact that, people were getting more into our music because other artists were sampling their music. There were 1,800 samples. We have become the most sampled group in hip-hop in the world, the most sampled group in the world. So James Brown said he was number one. He used to say, I'm number one, Kool The Gang number two. We're number one.
See what you're learning on A Breath of Fresh Air? Stand by for more. We're on a timeline journey with Kool and the Gang's Robert Kool Bell.
And then we moved on to Open Sesame. John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever. He's on the dance floor doing this thing. And they played Open Sesame.
Open Sesame was Kool and the Gang's 8th studio album. In 1976, it reached number 9 on the US Billboard Top Soul Albums chart and 33 on the US Billboard Top Jazz LPs chart. The title track became a top 10 R&B single and later part of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. According to Record World, the title track features the group laying down a funky backbeat geared for the discos.
That was that part of our career. And then we changed. We were out on tour with the Jacksons, and a guy by the name of Dick Griffey was the promoter of the tour. And he said, hey, you guys are doing all right on the tour. He said, but I think you need a lead singer. And we said, yeah, we do. So we thought about it. And some of our music, you can, sing on top of the tracks. And so we decided to get a lead singer, and that person, as you know, became James J.T. Taylor.
Yeah. You actually added 2 vocalists at that time, didn't you?
No, it was just James Taylor at that time.
Not Earl Toon Jr.?
He wasn't the lead singer. Earl Toon was part of the band and doing background vocal, and he was part of our writing team.
Uh-huh.
But the actual lead singer was James J.T. Taylor.
Right. And what did the addition of James do for you?
Well, my wife and I was hanging out in New York, and he had just joined the band. And I realized that every weekend at Studio 54 in Regime, there was a ladies' night. So I said, wow, that's a good idea. I went back and told the guys, I got a great idea for the first song for JT. He said, what? I said, ladies' night. I'm going to say, wow. And George was creating the music. He said, that would be great. And then our producer, Jamir Diodalo, said, that would be a great song to start off with. And then Frankie Crocker, if you know who he is in New York, he broke the record in New York. After that came Too Hot and all the other ones.
You've had so many big hits, but Ladies' Night must have been up there as one of your biggest.
Yeah, that's right. That's right here with Celebration.
Yeah.
We have won 2 American Music Awards out in LA. And my brother came to us and said, listen, that tag of Ladies' Night, this is your night tonight. Come on, let's all celebrate. He said, that's another song. And he went on to create the music, which became Celebration. That came from Ladies' Night and the success that we were having. Now, we didn't know that Celebration was going to become such a huge hit. But that's an all-time biggest record right now.
Yeah, right.
But don't forget about the Ladies now, because Ladies Night still hanging in there real tough.
It's an awesome song. Robert Kool Bell from Kool and the Gang. Tell me a little bit about what it was like during those heady days of the 70s in Studio 54 and the like. Paint us a little bit of a picture of what those days were like.
Well, it was kind of crazy going over there hanging out. You had the big bouncers at the door. Is your name on the guest list? We just want to come in and have a good time. It was kind of crazy. So now you gotta realize at that time, we didn't know that we were going to have a ladies' night right after that, which became a huge record. Then when we walked up to Studio 54, Oh, yeah, your name's on the guest list. Come here. I got VIP area for you and everything. The whole thing changed, you know? But that's how it is. That's how our career
Yeah.
developed.
And were you married already at the time?
Yeah, yeah. I married early,
So you couldn't even take advantage of all the women that were throwing themselves at the band?
My wife wasn't going to have that. No, right. But, women will be women. They'll try to sneak up on you and kiss you and take a picture. And then it gets up at, you didn't have the internet back then. You show up and see your picture. What was you doing with that girl the other night in Dubai? It's a fan. Yeah, right.
So it's amazing that you managed to hang on to your marriage through all of that. I mean, she must have been a very good woman.
Oh, excellent. I guess my wife passed about 5 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But yeah, not only that, she a lot of our uniforms on some of those album covers, she made those uniforms. Also, she set up a foundation with my two sons, now the Cool Kids Foundation, and we're supporting that now. We're on our fourth Cool Kids fundraiser back in Jersey, in Livingston, Jersey. And she was always, she would say, listen now, I'm not sure about that particular guy. I'm not sure about that particular guy. I'm not sure about this particular guy. You watch out for that particular guy. And half the time she was right. So she was my support.
Yeah. You were lucky to have her. But Robert, the music was really important, but so was the whole showmanship during those times, wasn't it? You mentioned she made your costumes. You had to put on this whole performance to go with the music, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We had to develop a show. Well, our first record, Kool The Gang, came out, and we got a shot to play at the Apollo Theater. Playing at the Apollo Theater was like, wow, we made it.
Right.
There's a band called Willie Feaster and the Mighty Magnificents and Skip Sonny and the Pace Brothers. And they came out and danced and had the singers, and they ran us back to Jersey. He said, we can't just stand up and play like jazz artists. We got to put a show together. And that's what we did. And then one night we got them back at the Cheetah. We got them back. We ran them off the stage. Said, yeah. But that's good competition.
Did you have to go and take dance lessons and like who was guiding you through all of that?
A lot of it was freestyle. But one tour though, we did take some dance lessons from Paula Abdul. And we rehearsed that show at Prince's Studio in Minneapolis. And that was the time we did have, took some dance lessons.
Because you moved pretty well on stage. Are you still moving that well today?
Pretty much so. I got some younger guys, they work their show. I'm still hanging in there too now. Check me out next time you see one of our concerts. We come to Australia.
I definitely will. I definitely will. Is it more difficult for you today than what it was when you started as you get older?
Yeah. Because when I was younger, I can have some nice moves and whatnot. But as you get older, the body get old with you, But we still do our thing now. We got some young guys in our show that can still get down on it.
So the whole showmanship thing is still a really big part of it.
Yeah. Let's check us out on YouTube.
Yeah.
We did with the Van Halen, the shows we did this recently over in Europe. You see us getting down. We ain't still that old. We're still doing our thing.
So Celebration was released in 1979 and it's been played at thousands, countless numbers of weddings and all sorts of celebrations ever since. Did you know when you released Celebration that you had a massive hit on your hands?
We didn't really know, like I said, it was right after Ladies' Night. And we were celebrating that we were able to turn our career around, with our new lead singer, J.T. Taylor. So a song like that, it just became #1 record, #1 R&B, top 10 pop, #2, I think, some charts, but back then you had Record Well and Cashbox. So it went to #1 to Record Well and Cashbox. Billboard made it #2, you know. And the record just continued to grow. I mean, for all the different Super Bowls, weddings, World Series, they even played Celebration in the space station, I was told.
Really?
Yeah, to answer that question, there's only one celebration.
That's yours. It must make you feel amazing.
It is.
Who wrote the song?
My brother was the main writer. And then we all, you know,
You all chipped in.
The team to make the song happen. But my brother was the main writer of the song. Because like I said, he heard the hook of Ladies' Night and came up with this idea for celebration.
Welcome back. I'm chatting with Kool the Gang's Robert "Kool" Bell, who founded the group with his late brother Ronald back in 1964. The youngsters could have never imagined that they'd enjoy nearly 60 years of incredible success.
A lot of the work that you did since the beginning was a collaboration with your brother, wasn't it?
Yeah. Ricky West, Spike Mickens, Charles Smith, Clifford Adams, George Brown. We all worked together.
Did you fall into the same trap as so many artists of the time with all of the excesses of drugs and alcohol that really took a toll on your health? I mean, you obviously didn't, and maybe that's because of your wife. You look in fabulous shape today. But were you seeing that around you a lot?
Well, we tried our best to stay out of trouble, just like a lot of the other groups. Some of my guys slip through the back door every now and then. But I have to go back to the back door and get them. Let's go, man. We got to go to work. So we worked together, you know, and we was able to make it through that particular time period because it was kind of like a drug scene going on.
And it was good you had each other's backs.
Yeah, absolutely. But now you can smoke marijuana around the world. Everybody, you know, it's like, oh, that's a regular thing. Grab a joint. I went to California, the whole city smelled like a joint.
And what do you think about today where it's all been legalized?
Well, I kind of figured sooner or later it was going to happen. But at the same time, you know, all things in moderation, though. Sometimes people don't deal with moderation.
Yeah, that's the truth. Absolutely.
I mean, the people that was getting locked up for it now, you don't have that problem anymore. How many people you think Smith in jail for one joint, two joints, or a bag?
Yeah.
Now it's legal.
Yeah, right. Robert, when the decade changed from the 70s to the 80s, the music changed too, didn't it? How did that affect Kool the Gang?
Well, that was right when J.T. Taylor joined the band in 1979. That's when we started creating the music because we had a lead singer. But right before that, it was anti-disco. You know, they was burning records in the stadium in Chicago, and you know, people against dance music and et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think our music was just dance, though. I mean, we had dance, funk.
Yeah. You really managed to transcend genres, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. We slipped into the 80s.
I believe that you started getting into Brazilian jazz fusion with Umar Deodato.
Actually, when he started working with us, he kind of took us in another direction. We thought we were going to get into some of that, the Brazilian jazz things that he was doing. And he said, no, we're going to go in this direction. And we started writing the material for Celebration, songs like Too Hot and Joanna. And it went totally different from what we thought he was going to bring to the table. It was a good marriage with Umar Deodato.
You worked with him through the 80s then still, didn't you?
Well, we worked with him for 3 albums. Ladies' Night album, Celebration album, and then the Something Special album.
Well, you had a string of 7 gold or platinum records right through till 1986, which was just unheard of. You guys were on fire. You couldn't put a foot wrong.
Yes, we were. You have careers up and down. And then, you know, JT left us 10 years after that. So we went on to develop our international market. That's when we started going into Romania, to Sofia, Yugoslavia. We was behind the Iron Curtain. We was in Berlin before the wall came down. We just continued to grow, and our music just spread around the world after JT left.
And why did JT leave?
Well, he had his problems with some management. He didn't like how things were going. He wanted to do his own thing. You know how that happens.
Yeah, it happens to everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah, Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, you go on and on.
But you never replaced him.
Yes, we did, but we had various singers after that. We had Skip Martin, we had Odine Mays, and then Sean McCullough, who's still with us, almost 30 years.
How did you find him?
We were working in Singapore, and there was a band at a club near where we were getting ready to perform at. And we noticed him. We said, well, hey, we like his style, his voice. Let's talk to him about becoming a member of Kool The Gang. He was a big fan anyway, and that's what happened. We pulled him out of Singapore, and now he's on the stage with Kool The Gang.
What do we see from you when you do a concert? Do you do all your hits?
Well, it depends. We do most of them. We have 3 different segments of our show. They're loving it around the world.
I bet they are. You never get tired of playing all those songs?
Yes, we do, but at the same time, we don't. 2 years off from COVID. We did a lot of Zooming and talking to the world, but we didn't work. We didn't work for 2 years.
Yeah.
People are having fun. People are loving what we're doing, and they're coming back out, and everybody have been locked up in their houses, and et cetera, et cetera. Yes and no? Yes, because we're out there again.
And I'd imagine you get really energized by the audience loving what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. A lot of energy. Yeah.
In recent years, you've teamed up with a whole lot of younger artists as well. As you said, you've got young guys now in the band. How does that affect you?
That's great for us because it adds more energy to what we do. We got a young guy named Walt Anderson, Perfect Union. He's the singer on that particular album. We have used different singers at different times. But the music is the music. The music is there. The band is just different members, but still the original core is still there. The last remaining members is myself and George Brown.
Perfect Union that you mentioned, you made in 2021, your late brother Ronald Bell and the late Dennis Thomas both died after the completion of that album, right?
Right.
You were lucky that you got that one in. You must miss them both terribly.
Oh, yeah, we do. I mean, you're talking about the family. We grew up together. Perfect Union, my brother came up with the concept of that. He was one of the key writers for Celebration. And then when President Biden was chosen and nominated for a presidency, they played Celebration. And his speech, he spoke about the perfect union. And he spoke about the soup of happiness. And my brother said, I'm going to write something about that.
That's pretty special, isn't it?
Yes.
Where to from here then, Robert? What comes next? Is there anything left on your bucket list?
Yeah, I need to fill that bucket up with something.
But you've done it all. You've been doing it for nearly 60 years.
We have another album, and it's called People Want to Have Fun. And George Brown, he put that together. The single we have out is called Let's Party. There's 15 songs on that album.
Robert, just to finish up with, Kool The Gang's message through your songs has always been one to party and be happy. Is that what you set out to do, to help people have a good time, to tell them to get out and enjoy themselves?
Yeah, well, most of our songs have been that, but then you have songs like Who's Gonna Take the Week, songs like Love and Understanding, songs like God's Country. It was dance, but it was a message in our music. So it's not always just the dance. It's the message and the dance. One thing our parents always told us, my mother or George Brown's mother or DT's mother, they told us always to hang in there. Don't give up. Always stick together. We kept that message. I'm not saying that our career didn't have some hardships and some misunderstandings, but we was always able to work it out. That's the defense setup. For every problem, there is a solution. So we had to try to find the solutions to keep moving on.
It's a great life lesson.
Oh, yeah. I think that's where the blessing is at, that we're able to change it up and still hang in there.
Love it. Robert Kool Bell, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Robert Kool Bell there, who was honoured recently with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Today, Robert also offers Kool champagne as part of the band's merchandise and says the only thing he's still yearning for is that elusive Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Thanks for joining me here today. I hope you've enjoyed the story of Kool and the Gang.